Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name's Alexa. And in today's video, we will be doing something very fun that we haven't done in a while. And that's kind of is it a quarterly TBR? I don't know. It's my 10 before the end video. I posted one of these last year in November, and you guys really seem to have vibed with it, really liked it, and I really liked it. I like having kind of a general TBR that's not just my monthly one, but that's one that I can kind of follow throughout the months, that I can either put some of these books onto my actual TBR or just books that I really want to read before the end of the year. Ideally, I'd read all 10 of them. I know more realistically it might be 6, 7, but we have 10. I just realized that most of them are fantasy books, and that's probably because this time of year I usually get really into fantasy because of fall and all of that, so I thought, why not put mostly fantasy books? But yeah, we have, I think 8 are just fantasy books. There is one that is I would say probably more of a paranormal fantasy, and one is a dark romance. So we're gonna start with the books. I have 8 of them on my physical TBR. We're gonna start with them, and then I have 2 that are on my Kindle that I would love to read. First, we have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. In the most ideal world, I would read this one, and I would also read Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig, finish the duology. Because I do own both of them, I know I'm gonna love it. Everyone who has a very similar reading taste as I do has loved it, has given this book like 6+ stars. So I feel like it's really gonna match well with my reading taste. But yeah, so this book is like the little one sentence blurb is Elspeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. So yeah, this book is basically a gothic, dark fantasy. I know there's romance, but it's like really more fantasy than romance. It's a fantasy romance, not a romance fantasy, you know? Like, to me, there is a big difference between a romantasy and a fantasy with a subplot of romance. Apparently this one is very much a slow burn, and people have said that like this is some of the best writing they've ever had. It is some of their favorite books of all time. And even though I think this one is 388 pages, and I think the second one, okay, how long is the second one? The second one is 400 pages. So honestly, if I was really dedicated one weekend, I could fully binge this. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. I've been wanting to read it forever. I think like I've been wanting to read it since 2022 or 2023 when I first like saw people talk about it. I don't know when this was published. It was published in 2022. So yeah, I think like for 2-3 years now I've really been wanting to read it, but it just, you know, when it just never happens, you never end up reading it. But I want to read this duology before I get into The Night and the Moth. So I really hope I can read at least the first one. After that, we have one of the books that's been on my physical TBR for the longest. We have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I don't know why I haven't read this one yet. I remember the first time I thought about reading it, I had randomly picked it up at the library. Well, picked it up. I had to do an online order because it was like peak pandemic, winter 2020, like I think it was literally in December of 2020 that I first picked this book up, but I never ended up reading it, and then I got it a couple years ago at a little free library. This copy is a tiny bit, not really damaged, but like a tiny bit, but it's fine. But yeah, I've heard amazing things about it. Is there a quick one sentence blurb? Sometimes there is, but not always. But it's basically about this magical circus that kind of like pops up everywhere, and I think it only pops up during the night. Okay, yeah, so here. For this one, I'm going to read the blurb since it is kind of a less popular book and I don't know as much what it's about. So here's the blurb. The circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it. It is simply there, when yesterday it was not. Within the black and white striped canvas tents is an utterly unique experience full of breathtaking amazements. It is called Le Cirque des Rêves, and it is only open at night. But behind the scenes, a fierce competition is underway. A duel between 2 young magicians, Celia and Marco, who have been trained since childhood, expressly for this purpose by their mercurial instructors. Unbeknownst to them both, this is a game in which only one can be left standing. Amidst the high stakes, Celia and Marco soon tumble headfirst into love, setting off a domino effect of dangerous consequences and leaving the lives of everyone from the performers to the patrons hanging in the balance. I am super excited for this one. I've heard nothing but great things. I just haven't felt like in the mood for it yet, or when I was in the mood for fantasy, I would pick up random books on my Kindle, but this year I'm like, I will be reading it. I need to. I've had it for way too long for me not to read it. I think this one I picked up, did I say 2022? Yeah, I don't know. I think I picked it up at a little free library when I was in Toronto in March of 2022. So like, it was still like pandemic times. Like I remember picking this up at a little free library. Like it was randomly on the side of, well, randomly on the side of the road. It wasn't like fully like on the side of the road, but like I randomly had seen one when we were on our way to go somewhere and I was like, oh, can we stop? And I stopped and I found it. So yeah. I'm super excited to read it. After that, we have A Fate Inked in Blood. This one is by Danielle Jensen. It is the first book in the Saga of the Unfated duology, and it is a Nordic mythology inspired, no, is it Nordic? I think it's Nordic mythology romance, or like Norwegian Viking, like fantasy romance. Here, let me read you the one sentence blurb. Whenever there's a one sentence one, I just read that instead of reading the full thing, because I know a lot of people like to do like I do and have a general idea of what a book is about when you're going into it, but you don't want to read the full blurb because sometimes they reveal too much and you kind of want to go in half blind. So, a shield maiden blessed by the gods battles to unite a nation under a power-hungry king while fighting her growing desire for his fiery son. In this New York Times best-selling first book of a Norse-inspired duology from the author of the Bridge Kingdom series. Sounds so good. And I mean, I do have a lot of Norwegian ancestry. My great-great-grandfather, I don't know, I think it's great-great-grandfather, is from Norway. So I mean, and like we still have, like we're still connected to the family we have in Norway. So for me, I really love anything like either Norse mythology or like this feels like a kind of Norse mythology and a Viking inspired fantasy romance. But yeah, and I feel like it's gonna be perfect for like maybe later in the fall when it starts getting cold and like there's a lot of snow outside, because it feels like kind of a bit of a wintry book. After that, we have Heavenly Bodies by Amani Eryu. This one, I've been told by people that I would love it because like based off of my reading taste, and its sequel is coming out in November. And I mean, if I do love it a lot, I could buy the sequel when it comes out and get it, you know? So the little one sentence blurb is: a runaway TikTok sensation, Heavenly Bodies is the first book in a dazzling new romantasy series that blends Greek mythology and shadow magic with a tantalizing enemies to lovers romance that will rewrite the stars. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I've said time and time again that I've read literally once the first 50 pages of this book, but I literally had the flu, so I don't remember anything. Like, I don't remember most of what I read. Well, most of what I read. I had started a bunch of books and then I had to restart every single one of them after every time I picked them back up because I was very woozy, let's just say. But this book, I'm so excited for, and the only thing I remember is that there was kind of, I don't remember between which characters, but there was tension between two characters, and I remember really vibing with the first 50 pages. Like, I remember enjoying it, but I don't remember what happens. So like, I'm definitely gonna restart it, but I'm really excited for it, and so many people that either have similar reading tastes as I do have like loved it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm gonna love it. Or even like one girl, she was like, oh, if you like these like this in books, like this and this book, like let's be friends, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my god, I literally have read the other two. It was like the Plated Prisoner series and like Blood of Hercules and a bunch of my other favorite books. And I was like, oh my god, I've read every single one of them other than Heavenly Bodies, and like the Plated Prisoner series is like my god tier fantasy series. And she was like, you're gonna love Heavenly Bodies then. So I mean, with that encouragement, I was like, I absolutely have to read this one as soon as I can. After that, we have Babel by R.F. Kuang. I'm currently 35 pages into this one. It is a very heavy book, so it's taking me a while to read it. I started it a couple of weeks ago. I haven't picked it back up since, but I really want to read a couple chapters this week. I know this one will take me longer because it is a lot different than what I usually read. Like, it's definitely a heavy book, not necessarily like dark topics, but some people like, and I don't agree with like people who are like, oh, it reads like a textbook. It doesn't read like a textbook, because if you think that this reads like a textbook. I don't think you've ever picked up an actual book before. I don't think you've ever read a book. I don't think you've ever read a textbook before for school, because this is way better than a textbook. Duh. But like you learn a lot. Like, you're being taught a lot when you're reading this book. I feel like you're learning about like a lot of writers in the 1800s and what life was like, and it's a very deep book that is very heavy in like everything that you're learning. So it takes a lot longer for me to read those types of books, especially since I read technically books that people would consider like easy to read, but that is because I'm heavily dyslexic, and with my ADHD sometimes books don't have I don't focus on them very easily. But this one, I feel like it'll be the perfect mix of heavy enough that I'm learning, but since I'm learning about stuff that really interests me in this book, it's like keeping me stimulated enough, but it's still like I'll read it in little chunks because it's also a slow read compared to what I usually read. So I'll definitely have it finished by the end of the year, because I want to read this one before I read Catabasis, but I really want to read it soon. Catabasis, I'm probably going to buy it sometime late this year, early next year, but I've heard that if you read this one, Catabasis feels easier. But yeah. After that, we have Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. If you can tell already, I think it's about 180 pages into, I'm 80 pages into this book. I'm really enjoying it. I just haven't finished it yet, but I really want to pick it back up, especially since the third book is either coming out late this year or early next year, and I loved the first book in the series. So, I mean, I have to read it. I think originally the date for the third book was going to be like December 2nd. Like, that's what it said on Goodreads, but like there hasn't even been a title or a cover announced. The author hasn't even officially announced it on her social media yet, but last week the date was taken off of it, like off of the page of the third book on Goodreads, so I'm guessing probably it's no longer being released that day. But I mean, still, I really want to read this one. I feel like it has the perfect fall spooky vibes. I read the last one, I like early winter, like mid-December last year, so I just thought this one could be a fun addition. Probably either this month in September or October. Like, it's spooky, it's paranormal romance. Also, I can't really tell you what this one is about without really spoiling you the first one, but like, think of a bit like paranormal romance with romance fantasy with like challenges and a bit of trials, and it's just kind of a fun, chaotic book with still like, yes, romance is one of the main plots, but there is still like a fantasy subplot going on, and there's like there is a like end game that they're trying to get to. Like, it's not just like, oh, this is a romance book and the end game is the romance. Like, they are trying to get the answer to something or win a trial of some sorts. After that, we have The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This one is the second book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and Once Upon a Broken Heart series is the second in the entire Caraval universe, like the second series in the Caraval universe. I read the Caraval trilogy, I think in 2022, but I finished it in 2023, I'm pretty sure, and I really enjoyed it. I read Once Upon a Broken Heart earlier this year, and I had fun. It was a good book. I did read it when I was less in a fantasy mood, so I think I would have adored it I would have adored it if I read it when I was really in a fantasy mood. But in the fall, I always want to read so much fantasy and dark romance. And yes, like some rom-coms, but like I'm really in a fantasy and dark romance, darker vibe. But this one will be perfect. I can't really tell you what this one is about without spoiling the first one. But I can't even, sadly, sometimes there's books like the first one, I can't really tell you guys what it's about without spoiling Caraval if you want to read Caraval. So if you want to know what this one is, I can kind of like lightly describe it. Like, it is a fantasy, young adult fantasy. There is a lot like high stakes. There's like fates involved, and like there's characters from the first books as well. So I can't really say that because or else you know their fate. But like, it's a very good fantasy. There's world building. The tension between like romance is always super great. So I cannot wait to read this one. The last physical book we have is Beautiful Venom by Rena Kent, not Renum Kent. I'm in love with this cover. This is the first book in the Venom series. I'm so excited as well for the second one that's coming out. I know I haven't read the first one yet, but you guys know I love a good Rena Kent dark romance. And this year I really liked her books. Last year I read her first series, the what was it called again? something Kingdom. I think it's something Kingdom. Royal Elite series last year, and I liked it, but nothing more than that. But this year I read her Legacy of God series, and although the first 2-3 books weren't my favorite, I really loved books 4, 5, 6. Especially book 5, God of Fury. I mean, I also, my second favorite is God of War. Like my kind of ranking for the last 3, we have God of Fury at number 1. It was a 5-6 star read. I adore Nico and Brandon because I love how they're both almost equally insane. In second place, we have God of War. Third place, God of Ruin. And then after that, like, we have fourth place, God of Wrath. Fifth place, God of Pain. And lastly, number 6, last place, would put it lower even if I could, God of Malice. By that one I didn't, you guys know it if you read it. But the other books I still kind of liked. Well, book 2 but book 4, 5, and 6 I really vibed with. And then I read Kiss the Villain, and oh my god, that one was amazing. I loved it. And we met in Kiss the Villain, our male main character for this book, towards the end. So I'm super excited to read it. And I read, I think, once the first chapter and I vibed with it. I'm gonna restart it just because I started it back in like July, so it's been a while. But like, look at the fan art. And it's like a dark hockey romance, which I've never read before. I've tried one, but the author went too far, but it was too dark for me, just because there was like, anyway, I didn't even know it was gonna be a dark hockey romance, and all of a sudden it was super dark, and like it was things that I was like, okay, how about we ease into the dark part of the dark romance instead of like throwing us in the deep end for that book. And then I didn't vibe with it. But this one, I'm super excited. I'm familiar with Rena Kent's writing, and yeah, so like the quick little blurb, this one I'm gonna read the entire one because it's not super long. So, in a den of vipers, revenge is the deadliest venom. They shattered my world, now I'll bring down theirs. The problem? I have virtually no way to trace the puppet master. My only lead? The Vipers. An elite college hockey team that rules the ice and the shadows beyond it. To infiltrate their secret societies, I set my sights on their weakest link, Kane Davenport, the charismatic captain and the lone green flag in a nest of serpents. No. The charismatic captain and the lone green flag in a nest of serpents. But too late, I've enticed the most venomous snake. Kane's friendly facade hides a predator more dangerous than I imagined. He quickly unveils the monsters lurking beneath the surface. A monster who lured me in only to trap me in a lethal game with no escape. I'm really excited to read it. I mean, for me, fall is very like dark romance, dark gothic fantasy, dark like gothic romance. So I feel like this will be the perfect vibe for fall. Now for the 2 books for the month, like the two books that I have digitally. Did I take a screenshot of the other? Why did I take a screenshot of the... Okay, that's... You guys are gonna think not. I know, my brain is not working. Okay, so the first book in the Kindle section of this 10 Before the End, the 9th book in total, we have City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. This one is a book that I'm currently about 13% through, and I'm really vibing with. It is a very long book, but I've really been wanting to read this series forever. It looks so good, and there's 4 books out, so I'm not gonna binge it, but I'm gonna read it slowly, like one by one, and then hopefully like I'll read them slow enough that I can kind of catch up to the 5th or 6th book when it comes out, and then I'm like, oh, well, like I'm reading the last book right as it comes out, and like I finished the 5th one, or like the second to last one, like not long ago, so I won't have to wait like 8 years in between books like people who have read the first book, when it came out, have to. Anyways, I just don't want to wait long between releases if I have, like, I don't want to catch up between releases, you know? But yeah, this one is a urban fantasy. People have said that it kind of reminds them of the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I really love urban fantasy. I didn't really love it before this year, but this year I kind of read a couple of really good ones, and I'm really liking it. I kind of like the whole paranormal aspect to it, and I love when it's like fantasy in the real world, but it's also like not actually the real world. Like, I don't want it to be urban fantasy in the way of like urban fantasy, but it's in our world and it's exactly like our world is, but there's like fantasy aspects that we don't know of, like I don't know, the Shadowhunters series or stuff like that. Like I love when it's it's in its own separate world, it has its own world building, and the people are aware of the way their world is, kind of like they're aware of the fantastical aspects of their world, but it is in an urban setting. You have a big city, you have phones, it's set in the modern day era instead of like, for example, like instead of it being in a world like Akatar in the probably more medieval eras. You know, like I really love when it's in a modern setting because it kind of makes you think like, huh, that's what our world could be like if it was like, if randomly there was a bunch of like fantastical elements. But you know, I feel like it's a very fun thing for me, and I cannot wait to like continue it because I've been seeing so many people like talking about Darien Castle? Is that the name of the guy? Darien Castle or Castle, I think. But yeah, I've heard people say that he's their favorite book boyfriend and that the series is amazing, so I will absolutely be binging it. No, not binging it, but binging the first book, yes. And then after that we have Direbound. Let me go get the description. This one is a more recent popular book on Kindle Unlimited, I think. Not on Kindle, well, like on Book Talk. I think it started being popular more in the spring or like winter. I downloaded it on my Kindle a couple months ago, but never ended up reading it. But Fourth Wing meets The Hunger Games in this spicy page-turning romantasy where humans and direwolves forge unbreakable bonds and fight for survival at all costs. Only the worthy survive the bonding trials. She'll risk her life and her heart to be one of them. Maren Cooper has always hated the bonded, elite warriors who form mental links with the massive, vicious direwolves they ride. While they live in luxury, Maren struggles to keep her family out of poverty. When her little sister Selah is kidnapped, stolen across the border by the immortal monsters her country has spent centuries fighting, Maren's world falls apart. Desperate to cross the front and save her sister, Maren enlists in the army and is thrown into the deadly bonding trials, where any mistake will cost her her life. Now Maren must survive 4 months of training at the castle. She is bound to a feral direwolf who refuses to communicate. The other trainees who would love to spill her common blood, and her cold, beautiful instructor, Stark Therion, is eager to punish any weakness. Everything is a competition and everyone is out to get her. Everyone except the dangerously handsome crown prince, whose attention adds another target to her back. In the castle, every smile hides a knife, and the halls hide dark secrets. It's bond or blood, bond or bleed, duel or die. Failure is ruin. But yeah, apparently I've heard people describe it as Fourth Wing if the dragons were kind of like dire wolves. And I don't know what a dire wolf is, but I'm guessing it's a type of wolf. But yeah, I'm very excited for it, and I'm so excited to read all 10 of these books. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. If you have a 10 before the end, please comment down below. I'm excited to like hear what you guys are reading, and I'm always up for new recommendations. If you've read any of these and loved them, please let me know. If you want more of my content, I am on all other social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, all of that. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and I really hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, morning, evening, and whatever time it is for you guys, like while you're watching this. And I love you, and as always, I will see you next week. Bye!